Okay, so we're talking about synthesis essay. And on a synthesis essay, remember that it's a lot like a thesis essay. We're coming up with a big idea that we're trying to support. But with synthesis, we're not just doing it with one text, not just a novel, not just a documentary. We're trying to take two texts, two things, push them together, and create a new idea that could not exist without both of them. So think about it like this, class. We talked about in class how A plus B equals C. So in this equation, class, when you've got A and B, we've got two separate things. We want to put them together to get C. If we take out B, we've just got A equals C. It's not going to work. We need both things. Think about it like a recipe, right? So if we're making a recipe, and we're following a recipe, and we're trying to make a cake. We see we've got flour, eggs, water. We got to smush all these things together, and then bam, we bake it in the oven, and out comes the cake. If we all of a sudden decide, you know what, forget the flour, man. I'm just using sugar, eggs, oil. I don't need flour. And we try to bake a cake, we're going to get out with this very sweet, very sugary, eggy, oily thing that tastes pretty disgusting. And if we try to put frosting on that thing, ugh, it's not going to be very good. So we've got to have all of those ingredients, put them together, and then we get a synthesis, really, the result. So with the synthesis essay, with HABIBI and EMMANUEL'S GIFT, the documentary, that's what we're doing. So to get there, here's an example. We talked about this in class, and you all came up with great examples in class. On the blog, I've got your examples posted. But I wanted to make this video to just review so you could hear it from me again. Watch it, 1,000 times. One day when you get married, you might want to play this video at your wedding, and just so the bride or the groom or the other family, the in-laws, can hear what synthesis is and how beautiful and how awesome it is. So without further ado, let's jump in. For an A, in EMMANUEL'S GIFT, one of the big themes, I think, remember, you're going to come up with your own theme, but one of the big things, I think, one of the big themes of the documentary is heart matters more than physical abilities. Okay, so that's A. We've got, in EMMANUEL'S GIFT, heart matters more than physical abilities. That's one of the big themes, the thematic statements of that documentary is that heart matters more than all these physical abilities, what you can or cannot do. Now, if we take a look at HABIBI by Naomi Shihab Nye, I think one of the big themes from that book, remember, you're going to come up with your own, but this is an example, a model. I think one of the big themes from HABIBI is this. Love overcomes differences. Made it. Love overcomes differences. Remember, we've got Omer and Liana. These are two very different characters. One is Jewish, one is Arab American. They fall in love. It overcomes all of those cultural, religious differences. Their love is bigger than that. So these are two big themes. Now, synthesis, C, is not just the idea of EMMANUEL'S GIFT, nor is it just the idea of HABIBI. It's taking both of those things, putting them together to get a brand new idea that could not exist unless we had both of these ideas. So when I look at these, one of the things that comes to mind first is the following. In an ideal society, what matters most is on the inside, not the outside. So in an ideal society, what matters most is on the inside, not the outside. So when you think about these two words, class, the heart and love, and mattering more than just physical abilities or overcoming differences, here we've got them linked to the inside and here we've got the physical abilities or the differences linked to the outside. So the big idea that we're generating from these two very different mediums, the documentary and the novel, is this big idea. In an ideal society, what matters most is on the inside, not the outside. Now, if this was my essay, if this was Mr. Reynolds' essay, what I would then try to prove is how this For Emmanuel's gift, his heart is bigger than the physical disability or the ability of just having one leg. His heart is bigger than that, and it enables him to actually do something greater than what the physical makeup of his body would suggest. In Habibi, love overcomes these differences. Now, I'm going to talk about that in both the novel and in the documentary. But then, after I do that, here's where synthesis is different than just a thesis or just a regular essay or a compare and contrast. In a synthesis essay, I'm going to say both of these things work together to show us that if we want to create an ideal society, if we want to create a better world like Emmanuel is trying to do and Liana and Omer are trying to do, if we want to make the world better, then we've got to focus and see that what matters is more on the inside rather than the outside. Kind of like we talked about with our iceberg. What matters is below the surface, not always seen above the surface. So this is the big idea I would then introduce. Both of these texts help us get there. A, B, C. So we look at each text on its own, we put them together, we get a bigger idea that's C. That's going to be my synthesis thesis statement for this essay. So you can watch this many times on those snow days. We've already had 2 snow days this week. Class, if we have more snow days, you might want to become an expert on synthesis, just checking it out over and over again. But at the very least, this will be a reminder of what we did in class today. You all came with great ideas. You wrote your own synthesis statements, and we'll be working through the essay this week. But just check it out if you need a reminder, and we'll go from there. Have a wonderful night, class, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.